There we are. Hi.
Hey,
SJ.
Hey. So I am in outside sales and I have really been doing pretty well with going to networking events and trying to zero in on the right people to talk with and getting the initial connection and the business cards and maybe even talking about a possible discovery call, in the in-person meeting time. And so those are kind of obvious. When I leave, I come back and I follow up and I do the discovery and move forward in the process. But all the people that are kind of medium hot, I'm sort of getting overwhelmed because it's been, a few months now. I've got a lot of business cards and I'm just wondering, like, what are some tips on how to stay organized with people at different points in the sales pipeline? It just gets a little overwhelming as far as, trying to, I want to spend my time and energy where it's going to be the most fruitful.
Yeah, no, 100%. Now, I spent, I mean, I'm a salesperson, so I have, for me, I've been in sales carrying a quota. Well, now I've run a business longer, but it was for a while, it was almost equal. And still today, I'm still running I'm still in sales and so forth. So one question, do you have a CRM or marketing automation platform?
Yes, I do.
Hey, Robin, SJ works for Vector Choice.
Okay.
Yes.
So are you using the opportunities in there and the tasks and so forth?
I think I need to get better, honestly, at using those features. Yeah, I think that's probably key.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, because I think, I don't want to say here's the way, because the person who sweeps the floor should choose the broom, right? And so you've got to find what works for you, but I would say, well, one, absolutely everybody goes and keep. Do not have a conversation meeting, even if they're, if they're even remotely qualified. When I say qualified, like they're the owner or it's a business and you go, hey, this would be a good, if we were to get their IT, this would be a good piece of business, but they're not really in the market right now. They're kind of, I'd still put them in your CRM. I'd put where you found what the source was, as much information as you can, and add them to at least a drip marketing sequence, right? At minimum, everybody goes in the CRM. And I'm talking to you as a salesperson to salesperson, right? I was always top performer salesperson in organizations that I work for, always. And one of the things that I was really good at is using a CRM to build a list and organize opportunities. So one would be everybody goes in your CRM, so you have a place it captures, right? The second thing you need is it's more of a now this is going to be more of a process. It's got to be more when you're talking to that person. Let's say it's a networking event. Being able to assess, are they even in the ballpark of being a buyer? Now, some people, like you said, they're not interested, but I'd still add them to my damn CRM, right? I'd still put them in there, not interested, met them at this, but they're outsourcing to somebody else and they're happy and they're okay, great. Okay. But the other thing I would do, if somebody is lukewarm, what I'm going to be trying to do is get a next action, or that's a real next action. Or I'm just going to say, well, I'll tell you what, let me send you some information about my company. You could send them like a mini shock and all, something like that. And if your situation changes and when you're ready, give me a call. Like I would be doing a couple more, like, who are you outsourcing to? Are you in a contract? Are you happy? Would use a Chris Voss? Would you be opposed to getting a competitive bid? And if they say, no, I'd be open to that. Okay, great. Well, let's schedule a time for me to get out there. So it's either, and if they're like, well, we're in a contract, right? Well, then that's not an opportunity, right? I would put them in the CRM, maybe put a note to follow up in about, 3 months, 6 months, just touch base with something, right? Does that make sense? So I think one of the things you got to get good at is turning those maybes into a no or a yes. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like what the death of a salesperson is, the lukewarm, let me think it over maybes, right? You can't do anything with a maybe, so I think it would just be, you know, you could use a label. Sounds like you're just not that interested in getting, you know, looking at another IT company right now. Sounds like. And if they go, yeah, you're right. Well, then now you just say, okay, great. Hey, that's fine. I understand. I appreciate that. I mean, we have relationships with our clients where hopefully if another IT person slick talking came up to them, they wouldn't be interested either, you know? So, you know, you can even make that joke. Say, yeah, I appreciate that. I envy the relationship. You know, we form those kind of relationships with our clients too. But so let me do this. Let me send you some information. If anything changes, if they ever start not treating you right and don't appreciate you, all I would ask is at least give us an opportunity, you know, and let me send you some information, but then I'm putting that all in my CRM and then I'm prospecting for the one, because, you know, let me give you another analogy too. Have you ever read the book, High Probability Selling?
No.
Foxworth?
Mm-mm.
Get that book and read it. Okay. I've interviewed Jacques. He's great. I don't even know if he's around anymore, but he wrote this book, High Probability Selling. And so basically what it is it's kind of a Chris Voss. It's a little awkward of a less elegant Chris Voss in that you're inviting a no. Like if they are not interested, don't try to talk them into it. So like I teach my salespeople prospecting when you're going through opportunities, it's like a deck of cards. So like if we were going to play a game and I said to you, okay, here's the game. I'm going to give you 1 minute. I'm going to put a deck of 52 playing cards in front of you face down. I'm going to give you $5 for every ace you find. Now, here's the rules. You can't pick up the whole deck and sift through it to find the aces. You got to turn one card over at a time. I'm going to give you 1 minute, so it's time bound. $5 for every ace. You want to play, you say yes, I say great, go. And I start the timer and you flip over the first card and it's a queen of hearts. How long are you going to stand there trying to convince me it's an ace?
Not very long.
Not at all. Like flip, 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 because I want to find the ace. So part of what you want to do is make sure you have a process for finding the aces, not the kings, because they're close, but it's not an ace. And then what you're doing is you add those people to your CRM, and the drip marketing will help you because that will sort of do the ground cover of what you need. And then, you know, like the people that you have conversations with and so forth, you know, you guys do webinars and you do seminars and events, call them up and just invite them to that. You know, like one of the things that we give my sales team is we have consults and not everybody closes. I know it's hard to believe, but not everybody buys, you know, it's like, it's very hurtful. So one of the things that we do is we give them, like we publish free reports and we do webinars. We do like MSP Success Magazine. We just did a report infographic on the most lucrative markets for MSPs, right? And so we give those reports to the sales reps. And so they'll just, you know, call the person and say to them, hey, we just published this report on the most lucrative markets for MSPs. And I just thought, you know, we talked before a couple months ago, I thought you'd be interested in seeing this. And we just send it. We don't even like say, hey, are you ready to buy yet? Because that's annoying, right? I'm just providing you a little Scooby snack. And so then every time when I call, you know, I'm inviting you to a webinar, or, hey, I got a free report, or I got this new article that I thought you might have of interest. And that way you're staying on their radar, but you're not being offensive because you're providing something of value. So again, number one, really use your CRM, use Keep. There's a couple different ways you can do it, but you know, you can open opportunities, you can do it that way. You can put tasks and reminders, you can use it that way. Get with our map team because we can help you with that if you want to just how those features work. Okay. So really get using that tool. Okay. And then the second thing is get better at qualifying earlier and getting it either moving it forward or having a real definitive callback. You know, like if someone says, well, I'll tell you what, call me in about 3 weeks. And I'd say, okay, well, would it be inappropriate for us to schedule a tentative call right now so we don't have to play phone tag? And if they're like, no, I don't want to book anything, call me back in 3 weeks. Well, I know this is going to come across as rude, but is it fair to say that you're just not that interested in meeting with us to get a competitive bid? And you say it with that kind of tonality, not like, well, are you just not that interested? Not arrogance, right? Get better at that, like a little harder qualification. There's another book called The Challenger Sale. And that's really the whole thing about that book. It's challenging your prospect to really stress test them, but doing it in a polite, professional way. Is this a real opportunity or is it not? Right. And so I would also high probability selling, the Challenger Sales, they're must reads. I'd read high probability selling first. It'll take you a couple hours. It's a thin, small, easy to read book. Definitely read that and get to using your CRM.